Oh. Ho'oponopono. Jai Bhagwan. Namaste. House, house, house. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. ASMR. Live now. January 9. 5:03 p.m. here. Live. Living, breathing. Capturing, sharing, connecting. In this live gathering of friends by the fire, let us gather in the name of family, unity, love, respect, kindness, understanding. Let us reveal the truth in our hearts with our beingness, without our words. Let us find time to sing and rhyme and chime together in harmony, not being exactly the same, not telling stories, creating the stories, the moments, the memories, taking time, sharing truth. Recognizing our power to be a witness, a storyteller, a creator, a maker, a being, not always a doing, not always focusing on becoming or the future or what's to come. Instead, recognizing our power in the now, to change, to grow, to expand, to tell the truth, to live, to grow, to be as a family, as a hive, as a group, as a gathering, in harmony, trusting each other to tell the truth, trusting ourselves with ourselves, trusting ourselves with ourselves, understanding all of ourselves, all of our beings, all of our inhabitants here on this planet, living, breathing now together with us, not always exactly humans. There can be living creatures known as plants. Sometimes you turn something that is living into your food, regenerating those cells, getting power from those cells, utilizing those cells for your making, your choosing, your becoming. All that's worth living for you. Recognizing and seeing your own power to create you. How to reshape the stories. Finding ways to tell stories in a tone of joy and happiness, gratefulness, excitement, wonder. While also simultaneously giving permission to the other to actually live their life and create their own stories instead of living through ours, as significant as they may seem to us and to others who have been around to witness those same exact things or had the decency of sharing that same life experience and opening their mind to the potential and possibility of existing and breathing in such a way that they had not known before this moment. Understanding the connection to fear and trauma and how unliberating it can be. Completely unliberating. To obey and believe in act in a way gently don't put yourself down. I had to re-narrate and rephrase and reshape and play with that until I was fully satisfied with expressing. And even then, I am not sure I am completely satisfied with what has been delivered. Perhaps we can keep it short and sweet. And take time to see our power to share. Our power to care. Our power to connect. The only example I have off the top of my head is for you to imagine a bunch of people singing together. But instead of everyone singing the notes exactly at the same times, like sometimes there's a line set out of tune or at the same time or just slightly off. It's really hard to narrate. However, if I could possibly get a few people comfortable with their own voices and saying the same phrase together, perhaps you can recognize and see the beauty of the tongue or of the heart or the mouth and mind and how everything is interconnected. It can be rather painful, those who choose to not fully connect with themselves and to alienate themselves and to attack themselves in disbelief in themselves having any purpose or reason for being or sharing or caring, etc. Attempt to not try to control yourself so much. I can understand the habitual addictions that have you feeling paralyzed and limited and held back from being your true self. However, without these heavy burdens and opportunities of creating, you would not have the ability to really choose and know that there's a difference. We can call this conditioning, pre-programming, social conditioning, or perhaps environment would be a more appropriate word at this time. If only you knew how much we are being limited, and you think it's something as small as the internet, but you forget how small it really gets. Take a look deep within your heart and see how small you are. Look how many grains of sand there are. For every grain of sand, there is a star. What if you were the physical representation of the light from that star? What if your body was so big you had to break up into multiple different beings, multiple different people just to express a fractal of yourself? What if you had forgotten who you are and forgotten your power to use your imagination, to live your dreams? There's so many different parallel realities happening right now. I wish that I could save and heal and protect and justify and correct and do all the things that are necessary and vital at this time. However, I am only one womb, one being, one place, one elbow, perhaps two elbows, I guess, right? Still, this elbow grease only goes so far. It's important for us to understand and remember teamwork and to stop being selfish and getting so encapsulated in the idea of I and them and we and us and them, it, information technology, it. Stop clowning yourself. Stop it. Clowning around not recognizing and paying attention to your own patterns. Paying attention is so important. Perhaps you choose to not allow people who really care about you stay close to you. Perhaps you matrix red or pill or blue pill, and let's say you just cop out. Why is it called cop out, dude? Can anyone answer me that? Riddle me that, Batman, right? Teach me. Referencing back to the point, recognize that sometimes we push people who really, really care about us away. Like the farthest, sometimes. Because there is a great need for us to feel that care and that love for ourselves. And we see and know that. However, we tend to also choose and allow people who treat us the same way we treat us. Let's make an example. Let's pretend and say, I have a sugar addiction. And let's take back the word play and just exist in that beingness. I have an addiction to sugar. And let's say it is my overall intention to no longer be living and putting this chemical or toxin into my body. However, let's say all of the people that I keep close to me are the same and they can't push my value system upon me because of their beingness, which they are happy, fulfilled, content, engulfed in, painted, colored. They are. It's just how they are. Therefore, there is potential for me to have my best interests and to choose to condition and put myself into streams of habit and behavior where I am no longer engaging with automatic responses, which can be like reflexes. I wonder if that's Babkin's or Babinski. It might be Babkin's reflex. Might have to look that up. I have homework to do, so don't take everything I say as factual. I'm just playing and expressing and communicating completely transparently without any limitation, aside from extreme limitations put upon myself as I am attempting to control the senses, control the mind, control the breath. It's quite amazing the different mental states you'll enter if you just behave in different ways. And it can be something as simple as opening and closing your left hand repeatedly. Perhaps you notice that you're not closing your hand all the way, or perhaps you're going extremely quickly, or perhaps you refuse to move your body. Perhaps you have a hard time being in your body. Perhaps it hurts a little bit in a certain finger. Perhaps it's an interesting digit. Perhaps it's your finger that is the one that is called the pointer finger. Or maybe the ring finger. The will, the thumb. Maybe the pinky. The family. Bear with me, I'm attempting to connect to my own personal hand movements and mood throws. I'm trying to attempt to remember. I wanted to say Sashuna. However, that's totally not it. And I know that's not it. The joys of meditation playing. Shuni. I think it's Shuni. Pretty sure it's Shuni, and pretty sure it means patience. Shuni. Is it Shuni or is that the other finger? I'm going... I've mentioned two things that made me want to refer to my bookshelf and return to my books so I actually have the education necessary. One being the MNRI book, the second one being what is that book called? Yogi Bhajan, Kundalini. Aquarian. Is it the Aquarian Gospel? Again, more homework is due. Interesting. Oh, welcome aboard. Yes, we are live now, and I'm taking questions. Transformations. Transformations. So many great keywords for meditation. I'm imagining it depends upon intentions and where things are going and what is best. And this can only come in congruency by truly witnessing myself and attempting to see what I really enjoy. And that can't really be done by storytelling and saying that, like, hey, I enjoy this, I enjoy that. It just comes in the act of, like, doing and being that you could say it becomes interesting. And sometimes something can be really awesome and really fun right now and in the moment, and then later on, suddenly it is no longer of interest to you. For me, I have mixed feelings about being an actual professional mermaid. I have found great enjoyment in being in my suit, and other times I have found just total lack of understanding and empathy and understanding with what is actually happening to an individual who chooses to put themselves in this situation and provide this type of business for entertainment or for other aspects that may be more classified and defined as enjoyable, such as the act of allowing others to believe and imagine and pretend, or you could say role play, yes, like playing the game of being a character, wearing this imaginary character classified. The only word that comes to mind is mermaid, yes. This fantasy suit. At times it can be pleasurable because you get to experience a part of yourself that you may identify and classify as well. Yes, I have always found so much peace from being underwater, and so what people defined as talented or gifted at swimming, and I didn't even really think about it like that. It was just something that you could say sparked my fire and got me excited. I just loved being underwater, and it kind of just led to expressing to other things and trying different avenues of expression. If I had to give a recap of the whole mermaid experience, I would probably mention you could say the importance, or man, again, narratives. This is where it gets fun, right? So there's two different ways of looking at this circumstance. It can be where you could say you pick a costume, and I have never truly been a fan of using that term for my prosthetics. However, when you're in your tale, and depending on which character is on stage, which tale, it can tell a very different tale, especially all the different, is accoutrements a good word? It's like all these subtle addities, what the heck are these words I'm trying to make up? Additions, like a simple word is additions, but I like the word accoutrements because it reminds me of trinkets, and it's all these different additions, right? Because there's all these different specifics and additional engagements that go into this professional business, which is really cool to witness. And personally, I am not interested in generating income from doing what I once loved, which definitely was more along the lines of I feel vibes of just don't say it, don't say it. It's just the best part of the business though, so how could you not ever talk about it? It feels like it's something that's never really talked about in the mermaid community, but it's that moment where the children and the adults get to believe for a moment and escape reality and to experience this what if this is real experience, and that you or I or the being performing, being the mermaid, yes, gets to express and be and grow and play. You can only imagine all of the different questions I have been asked while being in performance, yes? And if I was to give advice, I don't even know if that's appropriate, okay? But I had this idea that where someone could really take it above and beyond is by sincerely I'm feeling positive again, don't say that either. But it's never allowing the general public to see you outside of your true form, yes? If you are a true, real mermaid. There was certainly a lot of pleasure that came from that experience, and especially having to come up with witty, intelligent answers, or feeling the pressure from the children when they ask you questions like, what are these shells here? Or, you're not real, you have makeup and nail polish on. Where does nail polish come on? And then one of the most interesting questions I've ever been asked has been, if there's a prison underwater. I was fascinated by this child's interest in understanding basically the way the world works underwater, if it's the same circumstances. It left me with so many different questions. And I'm still genuinely interested in the minds that are yet to be born, basically. And slightly it's frightening with thinking and recognizing all of these eugenics occurring, all these genetic mutations and all these laboratory made ideas, or do we call them stereotypes or specimens? I mean, these are people, they're living creatures and beings. Just because their parents chose their eyes to be green or for them to be free of the CRR5 gene, or I don't know, okay, just in some levels, I feel as if as a species we may not be fully thinking, which is what often has me gathering here with hopes of finding like minds who may have skills and abilities to continue this process of evolution with the intention of there being harmony, which is referencing similarly to what we were mentioning before. Back to the mermaid transformations ideas. I will also mention how I have presently been playing with numbers, you could say, and listening my old mermaid tale on the internet. And I have told many stories how, like, if this, then I will keep this and this and this. And I have many, many ideas and things that I have yet to work with and to witness in the process. So it's very well possible that I could just like use this mermaid tail and abuse this mermaid tail until it is just no longer usable. And man, there are so many different aspects that I enjoy sharing truths about. And it's not a matter of pride as much as you could say accountability, or like soul comes to mind. Basically, individuality, I mean, it's like a spice or something, in essence. I'm not fully sure, as stated before. Enjoy it, bro. Nice to have you here live. Oh, bro. You. Always a pleasure. Yet always stirring up those like inner professional wrestler feelings. And perhaps that's because you are an inner wrestler like me. I almost want to jokingly say you're an outer wrestler too. Perhaps you've never been in the professional wrestling ring like me and possibly haven't refereed or you know, worked in the professional wrestling industry, okay? So that's okay. That doesn't change anything. However, you can still totally I'm questioning my own narratives again. I was going to say that we could possibly still classify you as having the soul of a wrestler. But like, it's not about like getting hands-on and fighting, you know. Again, so many aspects that just aren't talked about, right? So let me not, you know, throw fists and drop legs and throw high kicks and things like that, right? And let us focus more on the actual question that Enjoy Pro. Enjoy Pro says, Trina, do you miss Florida? Shall we have a moment of silence and let that speak for itself for a moment? I miss the world we used to live in. I miss the people that have come and gone from my life. I miss the way all the states used to be. I miss like not being in the state I'm in now. And I don't mean the physical state, or should I say like the country state, or should I say like Washington state? Pick your words. It's more like an internal conflict state of mind where I'm questioning my role in society and my potential development and what's available to us as a future collective and what we are allowing to happen to our societies. I'm currently in a state that is not having any social gatherings, and there's great joy amongst the community and people here of them not gathering, coming together with people. And for those that know me at heart, know like how difficult that might be for me to witness and to experience. I mean, I have great skill and ability to isolate and find joy and pleasure and happiness with my own character and heart. However, at the same time, I have never found more peace and joy than having harmonies with my friends, my family, my people, my earthly inhabitants, all living creatures that are here on the planet. And there's been little jokes said around here of things I miss about Florida that just, you don't really think about, especially in this new age, in this time of opportunity and coronavirus and all this universal things of control and witnessing and ignorance or dis-ease and dysfunctions from the mind and in the body. It's just, it's so much for an individual to do, and there's so much attack against anyone who is choosing to be an individual, to be an independent, to be a voice different sounding, not in harmony. I don't know. I wish I could I need people in order to make this example of us singing the same song just a little out of tune or differently, and still how it can sound so good. And another way that this comes to mind is chants of devotion. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Aho, 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 ho'oponopono, 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 ho'oponopono. Jai Bhagwan, namaste, hush, hush, ush, 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 ush. It's way different when you express and be and live in your own way. It's deeper than that. It feels like psychological warfare because there's all these scientific documents on attachment theory and our need, our need. And we can focus on the indigenous, or we could say like my people, my blood, or whatever you want to say, the brainwashing bullshit. Okay, it's not about that. It's recognizing that we are one and that we've come so far, and it doesn't have to be this way. We are forgetting the indigenous way. We are forgetting the ancient ways of living together as a community, as us all being an individual and a role. Before there was like markets and rules and control. You're forgetting the whole program and just how much you've been programmed since you were forced to go to certain communities and schools, which, yes, as a collective, we are starting to see and recognize all these different things, but you have to see that there are individuals who have paid all of this money to have access to all these different minds, all these different platforms, where they have invested their time, their money, their energy, their people. People have died in these companies working to keep these things going for generations, societies that have been functioning and infiltrating the minds since man can remember. It's more so of recognizing our power to really garden our own mind. It's really that simple, and it's really sad if you can't see. Yes, the renunciation part is essentially the most difficult. However, this quarantine or this isolation or this coronavirus, right? Like being, quote, forced to be indoors and being forced to remain quiet, right? And together and isolated. That there is, again, great music. However, there's also additional frames of mind to add to these counterparts, okay? And one of them that comes to mind is direct energy. And anyone who has done Reiki or done energy work of any kind, they understand the transmission of energy that happens. So understand how energy can be directed from electromagnetic devices that can be the same exact frequency that I am permitting, yes? And then it can also be, I wanted to say the word algorithms, but that doesn't really feel right. It has to be a word that's like, that's slightly mutating my output. Let's put it that way. Like, let's say I'm putting out this harmonious song, but then the computer is just changing the tune just slightly, tuning it to select ears that can hear, and therefore also not delivering my message to additional individuals who may benefit from the interface or the stream of energy. So many different portals and aspects to recover here. I wanted to return to the joke aspect. And it's just beautiful how this is just like so interwoven. So interwoven. Okay. Let me see if I can condense it into a subject matter that can actually be transferred instead of just like being contained in my experience from living and being this being that I am, yes? The being forced into isolation and being in a new environment that I am not strongly identified with, it leaves space and room to recognize all the lies and belief systems that can kind of keep one trapped when you say a story that I am this, I am that, I am a mermaid, I'm a model, like all this brainwashing narratives that's just I am. And it's not meant to be, the word that comes to mind is indoctrinated. It's about kind of like tearing apart all those old layers. And a great example of this is using examples of perhaps pulling back the onion layers of going through abuse or trauma or pain, and then re-experiencing similar thoughts or behaviors or neuromuscular functions or things that might reactivate the same stimulus that causes the same chemical dumping from the brain that causes the body to behave in select motor functions. Again, it's extremely painful. And you know what's funny is pain, having smarts is pain. I find that to be kind of entertaining. I have many thanks and gratitude to my father. I'm missing Florida. I'm missing my father. I'm missing the weather, the way it used to be there. This reminds me back to the dew, okay? The direct energy and how environments and people can be manipulated with light rays or waves or sounds and frequencies, and they can be hijacked basically and controlled like robots. And I know it's not really fun to think about. Perhaps you're completely entertained and bewildered by it, but it's really quite fascinating. And Jose Delgado and his experiment with the bull is probably one of the most fascinating to me, like that. It's just like, you could say, so physical, so able to just grasp and understand. And that was back then in like the 40s. And like, imagine where we are now, and now, and now, and now, and 10 years from now. And what we may have, that we might have now, but we just can't let the public know yet, or like certain people can't have this yet, or we're not sure it should be known. But let's say there are militias, or maybe that's not the right word. Groups, peoples, stereotypes, violent, non-carers. We're entering into a world where basically like things aren't allowed to be spoken, and it's been this way. Like, you can't talk about rape, right? Like, you can't say it, you can't talk about it, keep it away. It's your fault. It's not your fault. All those different aspects, and we could mention essentially so many different other words, including lies or theft or falsehood. And I'm not thinking returning to Florida is essentially the way to solve like all of these quote, great mysteries and ideas. Essentially, this is what's happening on a global level. So having the ability and freedom to travel and to enter multiple different states and countries and different places at this time is just such a gift. And we forget and have forgotten so much. And all I can say and encourage is for there to be gratitude. For there to be gratitude. I don't care where you last traveled. Let there be gratitude. If you've never traveled, let there be gratitude you've traveled here, now, for this long. Okay, find your grace, find your pace. Stop getting attached to the storytelling and making yourself a character that you are not. Allow yourself to be, to grow. See your power to change, to grow. See your ability to heal, to witness, to identify, to re-narrate, to tell the story of you. You are the writer, you are the director, you are the creator. What do you enjoy creating? Everything that you have now, you must enjoy it if you are choosing to allow it to continue. Another great thought is it true? Is it true? Yes, yes, yes. We've been saying so many of the same things for generations, yet what is the behavioral responses that are changing to get the cause and effect that we are looking to isolate and create? Like, I'm baffled by so many turning their backs and their eyes and their words and their beingness away from so many other people instead of seeing their power to shine and illuminate and let there be light and love and understanding and togetherness instead of there being complete control and democide, okay? Hate to say it. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. I am feeling it's appropriate. Especially if you study linguistics and you understand words and the way they function, okay? The only thing that comes to mind, and I wish that I could save it, but my ego is not going to let me save it. The idea is that in multiple languages, different words mean different things. And if you really pay attention, you'll kind of understand and see through. Okay? And the joke is like the language of this is an evil joke, okay? It's not an evil joke. It's a joke, okay? I understand it's a joke, but it's not a joke, but it's funny because it's true, okay? So I am uneducated and I do not know the words in these languages, and you can feel free if you are a genius and you can Google or whatever search engine you use or that you feel is better than the other words and lies and stories, okay? So we can look up how do you say these phrases, right? I think the word is wife. I think it's wife or marriage. I'm pretty sure it might be wife. And in in one language, it represents a very loving, endearing term. Another language, it means handcuffs. And in another language, it means I'm failing at this because it's not essentially my joke, so I don't really have all the parts together yet. But it is really funny and really interesting. And the word I was going to use before with the democide, okay, is recognizing that democide, it almost feels like it's illegal to even mention what the definition of this word is. It's like we live in a society that is just so fragmented and isolated from information and factual truths based on how you're feeling. You're saying this hurts your feelings, so you don't want to know this, you want to shut down. That's cool and all, and you can stay over there. However, it is good for me or us to also evolve and exist and experience that believes and knows this fact to be true. And we can go into quantum physics, how nothing is essentially true also, if absolutely necessary. However, why would you not instead just see the pleasure of being one and coming together instead of storytelling? there's one more point I'll make, and then I'll like move on into the other comments. And the word is government. Govern, to control, yes, to govern. And then mente is mind. So govern our minds and see what we give all of our power to. Are you governing your mind and worshiping your mind constantly and focusing on God? Is that all you think about in the front of your mind, in the back of your mind is God, 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 God in all things and seeing it everywhere? Or are you focused on money, 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 sex, 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 people, people, control, dominance? Shade, hate, like that's your God, that's what you're focused, that's what's governing, controlling your mind. Why not choose to find a place within your mind that is peaceful, which is typically quietness? However, how can you find quietness and stillness if you do not allow yourself to express and be and feel and grow and identify and experiencing the experience? I really like the reference point of what's that? Bear with me, I'm reading what the doc said. What a cute username. However, he's not, he's very public, or she, there. The gender assumption, I apologize. Okay. They're saying the mentioning of feeding off each other, and that's interesting point to reference when we start understanding the morphogenic field and the transferences of energy that happens when we are in the same, what is that called? Presence? The same presence of each other? The jokes in the comments. Yeah. Right. Like, before I emotionally respond to something I saw too soon, let me catch up with the comments, okay? Again, though, the feeding off of each other, I would love to find like almost scientific documents that mention that aspect. That you could call it psychic vampire, or I have no other word, but I would love to find some type of scientific document that talks about that, like how we collect energetic debris from other people, and that happens from like not even physical engagement. It can be like, you thinking of that person or having this experience and this emotional response, and believing and experiencing the experience in your mind to be true. Like, for example, let's say you're really anxious about this event, and let's say the event never happens, but you're living and experiencing all the emotions as if it's actually happening when it's not, okay? And sometimes this can happen from joyful states or things that really, really excite us. Like, we think, oh my God, if I just had this chick, dude, if I just had this chick, everything will be different. But that's a lie and not true, because you are the chick that you need to love and just totally enjoy being with. And you don't tell everyone, hey, I really love being with myself. It's more so that you are in your flow state. And it's been really, really fun. My ego is like a brat right now, telling you, yes, it's been so fun getting to know myself and really know myself further. Hey, oops, I think I pressed a button. There we go. That would have been funny, but that's a little mean. A little mean. Please pay attention when you are working on these internet streams. Understand that there are artificial intelligent robots that have been created as what some may define as fake accounts. However, it's like an actual robot, you could say, or like an artificial intelligence that has been made and programmed into being a certain type of intelligence that kind of markets and pushes this one agenda or idea, and that these are kind of like infiltrating comments, and therefore It's like a psychological tactic. If you read the book Thinking Fast and Slow, it talks about how our brain will believe everything we hear for the first time. So like when we're reading these comments, our brain is kind of uploading this information, this code in this stream, and it's forcing our neural pathways in our brain to light up, and sometimes it can be personally triggering or isolating to us, marketing to us, to teach us, and to make us become what it is introducing to us and all these different things. Okay, so recognizing that and simply being aware of that. However, also see your power to come together with your communities. You know, like we have these platforms presently right now where we can still like use them to actually meet each other and actually, you know, gather and be friends and family instead of control and manipulation and war, basically, like against each other, the nonsense. Yes, Happy New Year. This might be my first live stream this year, I just recognized. Like, if you check the comments, if you're live here now, you'll also see where a lot, like, you can tell that they're robots or that they're, like, automatic systems that are running and operating, and that it's happening in like wherever you go, whatever website, I don't care what website it is on the internet, I don't care if it's a secret back door to the internet that you think that you have access to, I promise you there's all these same tactics and bugs and interfaces. So please step out of being like a little bug in this world and see your power to be like the creature, the bug that you are in this real world instead of this virtual world that we have created because we were like again isolating from each other. A lot of this just doesn't make sense, and I'm not a huge again narratives, and then getting to know the self through experiencing and witnessing the self. I am tempted to say that I am not in alliance or agreement with the solution that has been presented through Agenda 21. I do not believe that it's best to just put everyone together in a big house. I do like how humans have the freedom to create and build with their hands and to manifest things from their hard work and their investments that they can choose to purchase and experience. However, at the same time, like the purchase system is kind of totally whack, because if you're purchasing land, like if you get to the actual science and like the facts of it, like that's not real. It's just kind of like a made up thing, right? Like, this is my land, this is mine, because I paid cash. But then if I die, there's like these systems invoked. And it's the same thing with like all these other different systems. And it's not really appropriate how we have become completely dependent upon grocery stores, and that we have allowed companies who have the ability, finances, or resources to purchase the seeds and to alter the seeds and the genetics and the mutations of the food, and for the water to be on the stock market. Like, a lot of these things just do not seem appropriate, and a lot of people don't even know this is happening right now. They don't even want to think about it, and frankly, in my opinion, in some levels, it's best for you not to focus on all of this chaos and all these different things going on. Instead, see your power to be the instrument in the moment to create that peace, that joy, that harmony, and do your role. You see someone on the road broken down, don't be afraid of who they are. See your opportunity to say, hey, dude, are you okay? And even make a phone call. Oh, man, I really don't want to get dirty right now, or whatever. Just be honest of, like, you know what I mean? Like, play your part. Maybe you know someone you can call. Maybe they have someone else that they need help getting to, or there's so many different opportunities for you to show up in your community all the time. And it's just really your choice to see your value. However, if you believe the stories that everyone else has told you about you, then how will you get to I guess you just have to trust the process and find your own peace and play the games. play all the games. Alrighty. Hairball. Oh. Ooh. Well, I am officially caught up. Seems to be a lot of spam, which is what makes this like option way better. But perhaps you don't like that. And it's difficult. It's difficult to decide what's really best. Other than, again, experiencing and being. I do work extremely well with questions, with others. And I have so much love and so much care. And it's going to take some time. And I'm in this beautiful process, and I'm very excited to continue sharing and growing. And before I go, I will say that Florida joke I had mentioned before. So the Florida joke is something that kind of like really broke my heart. And like, I'm not a religious person or the biggest Jesus worshiper ever or anything like that. But where I'm from, where I was born, in every grocery store, in Publix, and everywhere, there's a Jesus candle for sale. And I have gone to multiple grocery stores, and I have not yet found a single Jesus candle. This makes me hear like those jokes that they make, like the Southern girl saying, "Y'all need Jesus." And I did find one in a store here, to be completely honest. However, it was inside the Dollar Tree, and personally, I feel that this was not. It's really hard to explain. Like a knockoff. Like, that's the best word. You know, when I was little, the word they would use is bobo. You know, it's like, I'm not really sure, like, what that term really means, but where I grew up, that's what it was called. Or it was like a knockoff of the Jesus candle. Like, another joke that I could, like, try to explain it is, like, you ever see, like, those tattoos, like, where they show you, like, they're trying to do a portrait of someone, but then, like, it totally gets botched, right, the wrestling term. Oh, poppers, lovey-dovey poppers. Oh, very nice. Animals are such powerful little healers, so if you have one, hold it close to you, show it lots of love. I'll be saying my prayers, setting my intentions, sending out that love and light. I'm glad I got to connect with you on this live stream. I will totally be doing more of these. I am presently interested in beginning something very special, a surprise I have planned for the love of my life. And I'm very thankful for this process. It's just been kind of painful to go through just shockingly different aspects, you know? And perhaps it's just the coronavirus, but also maybe that's like a little something else you could say I miss about Florida, you know? That Florida, we choose to live, you know? Like, you could use HIV, staph infection, like herpes. Like, talk about all the diseases, right? Like, we live our lives. We don't live our life in fear. We're cautious, but we still hug each other, you know. And if you're dying, we're not gonna let you go. We're gonna hold you. We're gonna be there with you. We're gonna love you, and hold you tight and wish you wouldn't go. Yeah, maybe we get sick after, but who cares? At least we hugged and kissed you goodbye. And what a pleasure it was, right? Perhaps it's best for, you could treat it like, treat it like abortion. You know, do you choose to be held as you're dying? Do you choose to hold this person as they're dying? It's free will. I don't know. This all seems so bizarre and foreign and not right. Kind of like how, like, we've lost all contact with the dead. We used to, like, wash the bodies of our dead people, and we used to, like, really, like, have permission to bury and to, like, do things. It wasn't all about money, you know what I mean? Like, it just feels like a lot of things aren't really thought about and aren't really valued. Like, people don't even believe in the possibility of living without these systems. Like, there's these organizations that have just been around for generations, right? Like, when I was a kid in second grade, I was growing up with the internet too. However, people don't recognize why these devices were made. They don't know the company CERN, C-E-R-N. Perhaps they only know of it for certain little things such as particle colliders, but there's so much more. There's so much opportunity. There's so much you don't know about. And if you just stay inside and on your computers and in your game worlds and your fantasy role-playing relationships, how can you ever expect to really feel and experience life and to really expand and be yourself? I've had that thought too while being here. It's like such a wild thought. Like, how many people go their whole lives living in states that they just know that they don't belong? They know. Or they tell themselves a story that it's worth it to stay here because this, and this. I'm pretty big into, like, you could say, like, proving myself, you know? So, like, I have to, like, experience things and prove myself wrong or right. Like, let's say I think, hey, I might like living in Utah. Like, I can't fully experience that until I give myself permission to actually, like, stay there for, like, a month. And I'm doing my best right now, trying not to get personally offended, right? From not being allowed to enter certain countries and really being able to experience life. We really, really, really neglected our opportunities to really come together with other people across the world. Such beautiful people. We had choices and opportunities to live there and to live amongst places where we felt most at home. And now we have time to operate and to research perhaps where we think we might like to experience. Perhaps you'd just like to get out your house and start walking. Walk across country. Be without no thing. Only a true yogi would understand what just happened. Or is the word sannyasi? Okay, so I'm officially done playing. I have other work I want to do. It's been fun. It's been fun.